And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and tonight our special guest from 247 Hokies, Matej Sis. This episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at Main Street Pharmacy. Excuse me, Counts Family Pharmacy. I got the old tag. Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg, Virginia. And like I said already, Matej Sis back in the house. He does not need an introduction. He's part of the family. VTScoop. Matej, long time no talk, man. How have you been, dude?
I'm good. I mean, I know we were talking a little bit before we went live here, but it's great to be back. I mean, at this point, it's like it's Thanksgiving, it's Christmas, and then it's our yearly catch up. So I know we've done it a bunch of times in the past, but truly an honor to be here, and I love chopping it up with you guys.
Yeah, man, love to have you back. I mean, obviously, we usually have you on almost 2 times a year. We usually get something in the spring, something just before the season gets fall camp gets cranked back up. We missed the first go round. Everybody was busy doing some different stuff, but hey, we got you back now. We're talking recruiting. We're talking Hokies. Love that you're back, Matej.
Absolutely.
Matej Sis back in the house. My season preview relies on what this man has to say tonight. So you either gonna get angry Tally or optimistic Tally. It relies on Matej, y'all. So
no pressure, Matej. No pressure.
Send the messages, fill it up in the chat. Let him know which Tally you want to see because it relies on him.
Matej, would you like to comment on that?
Maybe somewhere in the middle. We'll see. I want to see optimistic Tally, though.
I think everybody wants to see optimistic Tally, but sometimes pissed off Tally's fun too.
On Tally. Oh my god.
Yep.
Pissed off Tally brings out because we all have different levels, right? Like everybody who's watched this program will tell you you've seen it. You've seen us happy. You've seen us angry. I feel like Tally helps tip me and Brian. Like if Tally's not feeling good, eventually we're not going to be feeling good. If Tally's feeling good, we're eventually going to be. Tally is sort of the he is the head of the roller coaster of our emotions on this podcast.
The overanalyzation king. Once that roller coaster start going the wrong way, you better buckle up. Because we can't get it on the right track.
It's a lot of fun. Well, y'all, Matej here tonight. We got a lot to unload because we didn't get to talk earlier in the year, but we've got a lot of different stuff we want to talk about, and we're going to lead off tonight and just Matej in general, kind of Hokies recruiting, just not running as hot as last year, and we know it's not in a vacuum, so we wanted to kind of hit on a few things and basically how you feel they're impacting not only this year's recruiting, but potential future recruiting. I know, Tally, I'm going to let you kick it off because obviously, we got to let you vent a little bit.
Yeah. So, just go ahead and ask him the question. I know you're pretty close to Virginia Tech recruiting and the program. So first thing I want to say is, I was definitely not happy with how the season went. I don't think too many people were, but from where you're standing and what you've seen, results of 2024, do you think that potentially throws a kink on Brent Pry's job security?
I mean, yeah, in terms of job security, I mean, I feel like we've been debating it all off season on Twitter. There was so much promise last year. I can't remember a time that, maybe it goes back 10 years when people had preseason expectations of 10 plus wins. And then, to make it out and only have 6, like with the talent that they brought back, there was so much that went into it. So many people that were excited. Tally, I know I saw you last year down in Nashville, but it's like, so going from that game with all the promise and hope, the entire stadium, week 1 at Vanderbilt, everyone's in there already looking past Vanderbilt. And then you look, at the end of the year, it's like, what happened? What did we all just go through? And I think a lot of people are still feeling the effects of that. And, definitely from, Pry's perspective, he's got to figure out a way to win now. And I think he feels that. With Babcock feels that. Everyone feels that. I mean, they invested so much into football. I think we saw the effects of what happened to men's basketball as well. Like, this has ripple effects. So definitely there is some job security questions. I mean, every graphic that comes out in the offseason, we've seen Brent Pry's name on it. But at the same time, I think, whether it's a good year, whether it's a bad year, average year, like, they're going to focus on what's next. And, there's a lot that has happened from last year's team to the team we're about to see on the football field. Like, a lot has gone into it, a lot of changes, coordinators, support staff. I mean, players galore. I mean, this was the most active portal in history, and especially for Virginia Tech. So definitely a lot of lessons learned. And heading into 2025, I mean, this is put up or shut up year.
Yeah.
I'm saying
this.
let me say this for a minute, Curtis.
Oh, go ahead.
Before you
My
go.
bad. I got to follow up.
I seen on 247 there was a snapshot that came through a thumbnail. It said, talking about the changes and the new faces, 31 scholarship departures, 30 transfer additions, 19 high school signees, nearly 60 new faces in 2025.
Yep.
So I'm just saying, I wanted to throw that out there. I just wanted to throw that out there.
Well, let me ask this, Matej. What about from the recruiting perspective? Because, you kind of went in depth there about how it was ripple effects across everywhere. Is that season affecting what we're seeing with, not that last year? It just felt like every time we turned around, it was a guy we wanted jumping in the boat. Like, bam, we got him. Yes. Landed that kid, beat Ohio State for that kid, beat somebody for that kid. Is the murmurs around the business like, we don't know what's going to happen there, therefore that momentum and that steam slows down?
It's interesting because I think I'm not going to deny that it doesn't have any impact. I mean, I'm thinking about all the classes, all the cycles that I've covered, and it's like, towards the beginning, that was always a big concern with everyone. When is Beamer going to step down? Then it was Fuente. Is he going to stay here for the long haul? Is he leaving? And now it's like we're in a new era where it's kind of faded into the background a little bit. Like, we're talking about all the additions that Virginia Tech just had to this roster after what happened last year. I mean, when we saw most of these portal guys come in, I don't think they had named a defensive coordinator, let alone an offensive coordinator. And it was just commits left and right. And you're kind of wondering what's going on, who's pulling the strings here. But, those players specifically, I mean, I get it from a portal perspective. A lot of these guys are jumping up to a better situation. It makes sense no matter who the coordinator is going to be. But then when you look at it from a high school level, I think there's so many things that change there. I think they've done well. I think the staff has always done well given their circumstances, whether it's, these guys can sell anything, whether it's, we need you to come here because we need to change the perception around here, or something like, yeah, last season was a disaster, but we had 5 guys drafted, 11 more guys signed on to a team. Yeah, it was a disaster of a season, but we're at least getting guys to the pros. Do you want to be a part of that? Mm-hmm. So no matter how you spin it, there's always a way around it. But I definitely think there is at least a slight impact of recruits saying, okay, what is this going to look like in the long haul?
Yeah, and I mean, I know with NIL and the transfer portal, you're not seeing guys stick around like a full 4 years, even in favorable conditions, right? So sometimes new opportunities open up, they want to take advantage of that, and they move on. But when you look at the way the expectations versus the outcome worked last year, it definitely seems like, it's hard to tell whether it was, did this class start a little slower because of the way the season played out? Did it start a little slower because you had coordinators that were fired as a result of that, and now you're having to reestablish some of those relationships that you took a year building, at the start of that class cycle, now into The time of year where you start seeing some commits come through. It's really hard to say. And, let's talk about that NIL a little bit. So, we've got settlement details finally came out. There's been some kind of challenges to certain language throughout the process. How is this whole NIL house settlement and stuff like that playing into how the Hokies have kind of set up their recruiting board this year?
Yeah, it's been super interesting. And I mean, this is something I've, remained like I was watching it from the very beginning. I'm sure most of us were, but it was delayed, finally came through. I think it's been interesting because I haven't seen, in terms of Virginia Tech and how they operate, at least from a football perspective, I haven't seen like a huge dramatic change yet in terms of their philosophy, how they're approaching, whether it's the portal, high school recruiting, or guys on their current roster. Like, we've kind of seen the trend of smaller high school recruiting classes, getting guys of need in the portal. And for the most part, like, we've seen Virginia Tech retain who they needed to retain. Whether that's their quarterbacks this offseason, last year was pretty much everyone. It has, I think, the biggest impact, and we've kind of seen it hit high school recruiting this year, is that I think there's a lot of short-term effects from it, that these big collectives kind of offloading a lot, and maybe we see more movement in schools that we're not typically seeing that from. Immediately, like Texas Tech comes to mind, coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other examples like that, but I think we're kind of seeing right now, from a high school perspective at least, we're seeing a lot of inflation, I think. We see more guys than ever right now committed to schools. I think the available player pool is a bit smaller than it has been in years past, but overall, I think, it helped a little bit in terms of Virginia Tech landing some of these portal guys with the expectation that this was going to happen. But then in terms of recruiting, I think there's some other benefactors across the country.
Yeah, and that's the thing about the NIL, the deal and everything, because now everything's scrutinized, right? I mean, there's already been reports of deals like, nope, deal's not good.
Yep.
Deal's not good. This, and in some situations that's going to hurt, but eventually I think people will find their way to work around it. And if the Hokies are having any issues, will we hear about it? Maybe, maybe not. I think they've got enough individuals inside the state of Virginia that have businesses that they can easily just say, give that kid $100,000, let him come be a speaker for your business. And what can you say? Their business, they want to pay a kid $100,000 to come speak, whatever is going to work. But let me flip back, because we've mentioned the portal a couple times. I want to know the effects that you think are having the portal the way it's working now, or it's having on high school recruiting, because the way you kind of got to look at it, if a kid thinks, I'm going to come in and play day one, boom, 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 portal, like that's my position. Like, how can that be negative, positive in high school recruiting? And I know some people are saying, yeah, but those guys are like way down the line. And it's like, it happens a lot quicker than you think. And then you also have people who are recruiting to sophomore and junior. We think about the recruit last year, Curtis Perry. I know he didn't last. He made JC really mad. Whatever. I'd love to hear the backstory on that. Maybe catch JC at PK's one night, give him about 10 beers in, he'll give us the whole story. But when you see that, it's like, well, I'm a defensive lineman. Well, and they just got that kid in the portal. Is that my spot? How much do you think that is in the minds of high school kids now, looking at how teams are recruiting to the portal?
I think it's definitely in the minds of a lot of high school kids, and I think it varies per program, because not only are you looking at guys now, like if you go to the 24/7 database and you're just sorting based on, 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, there is a different story for every kid. There are some kids that their financial situation, they're going to go with the highest bidder, no matter what. Doesn't matter what your program provides. There are some 3 stars the same way. There are also some 4 stars that, believe in the vision, maybe are a little well off, whatever their situation is. Like, they have it within them that they want to go to a place where they trust the coaches to develop them and they know it'll pay off down the road. And I think when you look at a school like Virginia Tech, what they're at least trying to do is avoid those guys that are just in it for the benefits, guys that may take, some money right away, but they don't see them for the long haul. Guys that are flip-flopping through the recruitments. There are even some like we already saw some guys that said, I'm committed to Virginia Tech, but I want to take an official visit elsewhere. And, I want to see what else is out there. And Virginia Tech has been like, you should go see what else is out there, but then don't be committed to Virginia Tech. And I think that's kind of their stance on that. But in general, with the portal, like it also boils back to what we started talking about in the beginning of Brent Pry being on the hot seat. Like, this is a team that's in win now mode. They needed to bring all those guys from the portal. They need to win now. So that is the priority. I mean, obviously, high school recruiting is priority as well, but you want guys that are going to stick around and stay there if, okay, we believe that next season is going to be a great year. All those guys they brought in are going to leave. We're going to be developed, and then we're going to pick up the torch and play for a winning football team. That's kind of the formula.
Yeah, I mean, I know we're dealing with a lot of different things here. You got the outcome of last year. We got new coordinators. You got, new information with NIL and new rules and, navigating all of that. And then obviously, the way the portal and high school recruiting are kind of, trading places in terms of importance, or at least, starting to match each other in terms of importance in a given year. Looking at the 26 class, kind of, let's talk about the biggest impact. Is it that hot seat implications? Is it the shift in recruiting focus? Is it the new coordinators, or is it some of those organizational or financial factors that are part of the NIL landscape?
Yeah, I mean, if I had to rank them, I would definitely say landscape is number one impact right now. Just again, I think it's very short term. I know Curtis kind of talked about it, but I think there are some programs that maybe are putting things out there a little willy-nilly, and they don't know the ramifications of it. They're just hopeful to get top talent and figure it out later. Second biggest impact, I would say, is the coordinators. Like, if you think about it, for Sefkes coming into Virginia Tech, he has never seen any of these prospects before. He was in pro systems, evaluating pro guys, going through, professional
The best
techniques
of the best.
and yeah, exactly.
The best.
So now you pluck him out of Arizona. He's coming all the way across the country, and he is not only getting to know these guys, like half of them he's probably seeing for the first time when they come to campus, but now he's got to evaluate them on a different level and build the relationship at the same time. I think they've gotten some guys defensively. They've done some work there, and obviously it helps that it's not just him, right? Like, there are other people. But in terms of, and it's the same thing with Montgomery. I think he's more familiar with it, but he's still going through it in terms of Virginia Tech's pool for the first time. There's a lot of catch up there. And I think a big thing that we're seeing right now, like, I think about July 4th every year. I mean, it's day after day, multiple commitments a day for Virginia Tech. They try to get 80% of their class locked up July 4th every year. This year is different. This year, there's only 9 guys in the boat as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And these coordinators, while they probably could have that number right now at 16, 17, I think that their approach is, we need to know these guys and we need to see these guys. We need to see them for their senior season. We want to see tape. We want to go, bye weeks, whatever, midweek, see these guys play football, live football.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big part of it right now. So I definitely think coordinators, big part of the whole recruiting equation. And then again, like, I don't want to diminish the hot seat, but I just think the other two just far outweigh it right now.
Yep. I'm gonna throw something in here at Matej. Speak to it what you can if you know, but obviously just a few weeks ago, Jaden Anderson, the wide receiver, out of Green Run, went into the portal. Do you know what happened? Do you have any sort of insight that you can give us, or that you're
Don't
allowed
get
to
fired,
give us?
Matej.
Don't get in trouble. But
Don't
if you
get
can,
fired.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say too much on the situation. Obviously,
Okay.
a lot of respect for Jay. I think he's a great football player. I think everyone's very excited for him. I just think that sometimes there's a transition element from high school to college, and some things get lost in translation. And I'll kind of just leave it at that. But I think it's tough because not a lot of people can really talk about it, but at the end of the day, you just kind of wish him well because it's, a guy that wanted to live out his dream at Virginia Tech. And then, things happen, obviously, but at the end of the day, it's best for both parties to kind of move on and wish each other well.
There you go. There's also another one in here, and we're going to kind of chuckle about this, but Peyton Falzone, he already I didn't know he decommitted from Penn State. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, how tough is that just for you reporting on this? And like, okay, he commits to us. Oh, that's great. He goes to Penn State. It makes sense. Pennsylvania. And now he's at Auburn, which Auburn, from everything I'm seeing, Tally, you can confirm this. Auburn's kind of looking like shit show right now.
Freeze he's something else, man. But I know one thing, he better do something. He better do something because I ain't gonna play with him down there too long.
But how does that
He
go?
pissed a lot of people off already.
But for you, Matej, how does that even go? Like researching a kid, getting to know, and then all of a sudden it's like it's the freaking stock market. Like, where is this kid going today?
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot. I wouldn't say it's at the same level, but you guys remember Demetrius Davis?
Just
Hold on.
Hey, Bassmaster already beat you to it.
I heard Auburn, and all of a sudden my mind went there straight away. I mean, it happens a lot, right? Like at the end of the day, these guys are 16, 17, 18 years old. And all of a sudden, in the modern era, you're talking about life-changing money places. And, I'm not quite sure what the situation was at Penn State, because when he was committed to Virginia Tech, that was always the school to watch. There was no mention of Auburn at that time. And, from there, it was kind of a clean cut. I know Virginia Tech still continued to recruit him here and there. But at that point, I didn't follow as much. So I was a bit surprised to see him flip again to Auburn. I don't know what the situation there is with Penn State, if they told him, go ahead and find a situation. But this happens everywhere. He's not alone in that.
All right.
I'll say this, and this is from somebody who don't know shit. This is just from somebody who,
You
I ain't
live
gonna lose my job. Yeah, I ain't gonna lose my job for talking. Nowadays, these kids, the recruiting aspect of stuff is, what can I get? Not all the time, but some kids is, what can you offer me? So even if they commit to a school, they'll go back to a coach and say, well, such and such called and offered me this. And such may have called and offered you that. But what's getting lost in translation a lot with kids is you have to be in the right position for you to produce. Like, my kid is a baseball player, right? And travel ball is ridiculous. So you get so many coaches you'll be at a tournament and they see you play and they'll come, hey, man, y'all should come over here to this program. And if my kid comes and plays on that team, he might not like them kids. He might not like the colors. He may not feel the same when he's on the field. Like the kids that he played with right now, he's played with them for probably 5 or 6 years. They're comfortable with each other. If he strikes out 3 times, he's not really going to have nobody to rag him. You know what I'm saying? But you go to another team and you strike out once, you may have somebody on the bench that goes, hey, you suck. So I take that back to like where we are. We're talking football, right? So sometimes you can have a team that's really strong, a program that's strong, or even a recruiting class that's strong and hold together. A lot of times now these kids aren't giving themselves the opportunity to even do that. They're just going with the next best thing. Speaking on the Jaden Anderson situation, which I can't speak on it. I don't know him. I don't know what happened. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, as a grown man, if you start a job and you're on that job 7, 8 days, and then you leave that job or you get fired. What something happened that they didn't like, or something happened that you didn't like. So we can throw all these theories around, and we can ask the questions, Bassmaster, what happened? Something happened on one end that somebody didn't like, or something happened on the other end that somebody didn't like, or maybe both ends. But you can kind of take that and use that as you will, because like I said, I don't know the kid or his family. Definitely wish him well. Very talented kid, but us as fans, like, we throw so many theories out. Well, I heard this, or I know this, and we don't know nothing. We don't know what's going on in that kid's household. No. We don't know if that kid gets homesick and wants to go home. We don't know if that kid gets there and says, "Hey man, y'all got too many people in this room." We don't know what. They might not like the living situation. You know, I've had kids here in Huntsville. Huntsville's it's in Alabama, so we still country, but like Huntsville's a city. I've had kids that, you know, leave here and go to Jacksonville State, and they're calling their parents and go, "I'm in the country, man. Like, you got to come get me. I can't stay down here." My kid did it. My daughter went to Jacksonville State and stayed a year, and she was like, "I want to come back home and go online because there's no Chick-fil-A here." Like, that's a big thing. You never know what's happening when a kid leaves his house.
There you go.
You know, or her
That's
house. Man. So just normal stuff as fans. I get it. I've been there. I'm one of those people who want to get in everything and want to know everything and see if I can make a call and see if I can look at a message board. But guess what? Right now, I don't give a fuck. I don't care. I just want to win. I don't care what's going on. I just want us to win. That's what I want.
And the thing about winning, Tally, is winning takes care of a lot of these things.
Everything.
You winning will solve a lot of the big problems that we have.
Yeah,
damn right.
It's not going to solve everything, and it's not going to turn us into a powerhouse overnight. But if you can win and win consistently, a lot of your year-to-year problems start to disappear. And then it's all about, can you build a foundation good enough to take that big step up the next rung of the ladder? But if you can just start winning 8 games every year, you get consistent with that, a lot of these other problems that we have start to go away.
Now, let me say this before we get back to Matej, because I know Curtis, we got to get this man out of here. He got a lot of
these guys in, man.
Man, yeah, he got a lot of stuff to do. I will say this, and we'll talk about it a little bit more on our panel that's coming up, also our season preview. We did have a lot that came back last year. Great.
Yep.
So much return in production. But I'm going to say this. Y'all can hate me if you want to. Some people came back the same. Some people didn't get better. Just because you're returning doesn't mean you're better.
You said that
when
last
you
year,
leave and you come back from summer break or whatever you call it, especially as a pro, all of those kids want to be pros. You got to come back better. And sometimes, man, when you get paid, you kind of chill. Some of our offensive linemen look like they chilled. Our running back didn't chill.
No, he didn't.
You know, Dorian.
That's why he got a lot more money this year
Dorian,
than he did last year.
I think Steven said it. He said they believed the hype. Yeah, we believed the hype last year.
You had to.
I'm not saying
no good.
The coordinators believed the hype. Ooh. I said that from the beginning. You know, I ain't saying we're gonna be so much better, but I do believe that Pry has his best staff from top to bottom this year since he's been here. He is still the head coach. I'm still saying, Pry, you got to win. But I do think that this staff from top to bottom is better than the staffs he had in the past. So, want to get that out. Y'all can talk about it in the chat. I know we got to get back to Matej. Curtis, what we got?
Well, what we got is we've been going, we ain't been exactly rose-colored glasses the first 30 minutes here because that's who we are. We don't paint it. We paint it like we see it. But there are some positives that happen, like what they mentioned earlier this month. And it ain't all doom and gloom. We got 9 kids in the boat, and we just wanted to hit on a couple of them. I'm going to let Brian tee it off with the first one because I know where he's going. You know where he's going, Tally, and I know where Tally's going.
Hey, man, this is an offensive line focused podcast, a trench focused podcast, so we got to talk about Thomas Wilder. Matej, tell us what type of recruit this kid is and talk a little bit about how Pry has built this pipeline with that deep run program that down
Green
there
Run
757.
Green Run, D Run.
I said deep run. Sorry, Green Run. My bad.
Deep Run's above my house here.
Get it right, Curtis.
Hey, Green
like
Run. My bad. Green Run.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, Thomas Wilder is. I mean, I think when we all looked at this class, he was a guy that not only the coaching staff circled as this is a top guy that we need desperately to keep here, but I think all fans saw that too. And um, I think it helps. I talked about it before with the coordinators meeting a lot of these guys before, but this is Matt Moore as well. This is, there is crystal balls over a year ago for Thomas Wilder to go to West Virginia. And Matt Moore has kept that connection. Virginia Tech has kept that connection. This is a guy that has been recruited by Virginia Tech since he was 13 years old, right? Like he is growing into his body. He is starting to play big football, and Virginia Tech is there every single step of the way. And it does help Green Run. I think Wilder transferred there before last year. But you look at, I think the domino effect has been real. And you look at a guy like Keelan Adams, Brody Adams, that was a guy that the staff just worked so hard on. And then you have guys like Fontel Mines coming in. You have Matt Moore coming into the school. All of a sudden, you're recruiting guys all over the field from that program. All the different coaches are coming in those doors week after week, establishing connections, not only with the coaching staff and the players, but these families that talk to one another, the community. So I think they've shown a willingness. And granted, these are great players. Like, not every high school, especially in state, are you going to find multiple guys on the same team that you can confidently say, in our 16-man recruiting class, we're going to take 2 to 3 of you guys. I mean, that's crazy if you think about it. Mm-hmm. But no matter who the Green Run prospects are, Virginia Tech, like, will give them a fair shake and will recruit them, and has been recruiting all these guys for many, many years. So I think, not only is it a lot of these guys that will eventually see their former teammates from the high school level at the collegiate level, it's like it's one big community, and it just so happens that they're very talented at playing football as well.
Well, I was happy that he committed. I was worried, but I was happy that he did. Another one that I was happy to see, didn't really know much about him, but I do know what we need help at. And this kid was committed to Rutgers, Terrell Simpson. He was committed to Rutgers, and I know what Rutgers looks for, and I know what kind of program they have. So, again, didn't know much about the kid, but when I seen he was committed to Rutgers and I seen his size, definitely got happy about it. But wanted to ask you kind of, how did that commitment go? How did that, what did we do? What happened there?
Yeah, I mean, I think sometimes you get aided by things out of your control, and I won't go into too many details on it. But I think with Simpson, he's a guy that Virginia Tech recruited, and I was pretty pessimistic about it because obviously I heard some rumblings. Some people on my team were saying, I think there's a legitimate possibility that there could be a flip here. And all of a sudden, a guy from North Carolina, as you mentioned, Rutgers knows how to, you could say what you want about them in the Big Ten and their overall success rate and what have you, but they know how to develop offensive linemen. And I think that was a situation where at the time, Rutgers seemed like the best opportunity to get a full ride to a really good program that would develop him. But I think, it wasn't too much time, but I think he really realized the need for him to stay home or closer to home. And Virginia Tech offered the best opportunity to not only, get a full ride, develop under Matt Moore, but stay close to home. And I think that was the missing piece that became apparent over time, and the reason why they were able to, get that flip.
Yeah, definitely good flip. We got a little birdie in our ear. Somebody messaged us and said, I think we're going to flip one soon. We're like, okay, that's nice, but you hold your breath, right? Because people messaged us before and be like, oh, this is going to happen, and none ever happened. So in that one was a good case, and the tally's points, like it kind of all mixes. Where he got recruited to, the footprint guy, and then just his sheer size. It was like, great flip, love it. I got one I want to hit on, and this is a guy that recruited way back in April, and Josh Pittman, down at Suffolk, down at Kings Fork, a linebacker. And I guess maybe what I want a little more on this one is this was Xavier Deeby's first recruit. He put it in the boat quick. His first chance to get out there, hit the road, puts a pretty solid one on the board. From what you've heard, how big was being Xavier Deeby to Joshua Pittman?
Very big. Very big. And I think, there's a lot of similarities there. I think at the same time, like this is a guy that, 6'3". I think he just put up like a weight update on Twitter. He's 230 now.
Yeah, he is following the plan then.
He sure is. Like this is a very dedicated, serious young man that really wants to be successful. And I think they view him as a guy that can do a lot of things. They view him more as an outside linebacker, maybe a guy that could, in certain situations, rush the passer, maybe play closer to the line, but just a really solid player. And I think when they were looking at, we're going to take 1 to 2 linebackers this class, they always knew in the back of their mind they wanted him as one of them. So I think that's why it was so quick. Again, only 9 guys, but of the 9 guys that are in the class, it's very clear, like, these were the guys that Virginia Tech was like, we need to say yes to. We need their commitments. Again, like I said it a bit earlier, they could have 16 by now. They decided we're not confident on the other 7 or so. But the 9 guys that they have right now, including Pittman, like they knew they wanted him at linebacker.
I love hearing that, and let's talk about that a little bit because you've talked a couple times at this point about maybe a couple of these guys that could have been in the boat that we've either kind of pulled back on, or you got new coordinators coming in, want to see a little bit more before they pull that trigger. What other schools have benefited from that? Looking at maybe like the top 20 in the state. Is there certain schools that have benefited maybe from us taking a little more of a slower approach this cycle as a result of those new coordinators?
Yeah, I think, it definitely varies in terms of like, definitely there's another in-state school that has benefited, other ACC schools. But I've also seen, like, I know there was one battle with Texas Tech. I'm trying not to like say all the names here, but I think just in general, like there are other schools that have benefited definitely from Virginia Tech kind of waiting out the process. Like you can kind of put it together, like when the official visits happen late May into June, like a lot of these guys are pushing to commit, right? And we've seen so many commitments to various different schools where Virginia Tech was in the top 5, the top 3. Sometimes even it was 2 schools that a recruit's choosing from. And, I want to be clear, in some instances of that happening, that recruit decided, I want that other school, but there have been opportunities for Virginia Tech to add. And they said, we're just not confident right now. We want to see some more film, and all the best to them as they make their commitment and have a spot somewhere else.
Nice. We've mentioned a couple times 9. That's where we're stuck at right now. And you obviously pay attention to the portal, to the class size, to maybe say this guys that you thought would make an impact by their 3rd season. It's just like they're just not coming to fruition. Where do you see this class landing? What's your number? Just like, again, playing the scholarship game, they're going to need this from the pool. You're logged in. Where are you throwing your dart and saying, I think we're going to land about here?
Yeah. So I would say last year they got 20 high school guys. And if you think about it, most of that was done and I always bring it up, but like early July is when the spree starts throughout July, maybe early August. Maybe you get like sprinkle in 1 to 2, like September, October. And then all of a sudden, like last year, I think Virginia Tech was 16 or 17 guys. And then all of a sudden you have a late flip. And then you add a guy like JoJo Krim. And, you know, you're able to kind of you've already developed these relationships, and maybe you can take a couple more guys as you figure out the numbers. So I kind of see the same thing this year. Like, I know it's been a little slower to start, but I realistically can see Virginia Tech like at 15 or 16, and then they could push up from that closer to signing day. Because I do think there's going to be, like, I keep saying it, but so many guys committed already. And I think there's a lot of prospects that Virginia Tech's going to fight for. I don't know, like a lot of them are long shots, but at the same time, like you never know what could happen leading up to signing day. Is there a coach that leaves or moves on? So many different factors. So I see it as somewhere between 16 to 18, maybe even pushing 20.
Okay.
A little bit bigger than I thought when you start talking about that bigger number being 20. But I guess I gotta ask, man. I mean, I don't know how much you can tell me, but I at least gotta ask you. You know, names that I guess we haven't talked about are names that you may be hearing that we're targeting. What are some names that you can give us that may be Hokies by December?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting list. Right now is a dead period, and we just saw a huge spree. So I won't say it's the most exciting list, but in terms of, you know, guys that they could be targeting, Cole Bergeron, a guy out of Louisiana, high 3-star pro style quarterback. I think he's like 6'4.5". He's a guy that, you know, they've identified. Montgomery. He's someone that has Virginia Tech on top right now. I think they're in the, you know, they very much want to add a quarterback to this class, and he seems like the favorite in my opinion. I think in terms of like bigger star power, T-Ron Richardson, Hopewell guy. I think if Virginia Tech can pull this one out, he's the guy that everyone looks at the end of the cycle and says, that's the gem of the class, like including Thomas Wilder. I think he's that good. Penn State, Oklahoma, Syracuse, they're all in on him. But yeah, he's a big one for this cycle. I think, you know, the biggest fish that's probably out there. I know I've seen like Elijah Golden. He's announcing pretty soon, I think on the 26th. He has Notre Dame, Bama, Oklahoma, and then Virginia Tech in his Final Four. I think that one's like an absolute long shot, but you just never know. Like they've recruited him for a very long time. Personally, if Notre Dame and Alabama are calling, I'm listening. But he's still someone that's, you know, in the conversation at least, and that they're pushing for. Other guys, I know Jalen Burrell has been an interesting one. He's a high 3-star. I think he's listed as a safety. I believe he's playing wide receiver for his high school program. And I'm not sure if he's looking to go the route of wide receiver or not, but he's someone that definitely Virginia Tech wants to monitor through senior season. Charles Belser, linebacker out of Philadelphia. He's got Michigan State, UCF, and Virginia Tech in his top 3 right now. He's another guy I think Virginia Tech would want to add from an inside linebacker perspective. And then, you know, a name to watch, got to mention Green Run again, but Sean Church Jr., he's another cornerback, big lanky guy. I think he's like 6'3", 190 or so. Could play multiple positions. But yeah, and also Zay Cleveland as well. Like I know he's already in the boat, but it's just funny how much Green Run can give to Virginia Tech. But he's someone I think, again, like with a big senior season, I could see that happening. But again, I think like the names. I always say that. I feel like I say this every time I'm on here. Like the names always change, right? But I think the idea is that they're looking for a quarterback, couple wide receivers, maybe add to the O line and D line if it's, someone they can really add to that group with. And then I think they round it out with a couple safeties, a linebacker, and maybe another cornerback. And I think you're talking about like a nice class. Oh, and definitely a tight end. They definitely need a tight end.
Definitely need a tight end. Yeah.
Definitely.
Let me ask you this, Matej, and you talked about some of the schools in the mix for these kids that are still, haven't committed yet. When I look through kind of the commitments for the state of Virginia and kind of look in the footprint in general, I'm seeing Syracuse in a lot of these battles. Either already have a verbal commit or are pretty high in these final roundouts here. Is Fran Brown making a big push down in the Mid-Atlantic this year in general? Number one. And number two, we've already seen a couple flips. Are there some flip opportunities for the Hokies that you've already identified that we should keep our eyes on?
Yeah. I'll say with Fran Brown, I mean, it's not to the same degree as like a Texas Tech. I mean, this is just my opinion, right? But like, I think when I talk about or have talked about tonight about some of those short-term impacts of like some schools are operating in a different way than others, I think Syracuse is one of those programs. Like they're seeing the benefits of, some of the rules changing and they're, I think Fran Brown is legit as a recruiter. I think he has a great staff for it. I mean, they just got blanking on his name now, but they just got that 5-star guy over Michigan, which was a big shocker, but and Miami. But yeah, I think Fran Brown has done a good job in terms of flips. I think Amari Go who's committed to Syracuse now. He's a guy that Fontel Mines has been recruiting a lot. I think athlete guy would play wide receiver at Virginia Tech. He's someone I would keep an eye out for. Dysere Carter over at Rutgers, another Rutgers guy, but again, wide receiver. Just my opinion. I just think Fontel Mines, the way that he operates, he's going to continue to recruit guys till the very, very end. And we've already seen some cases where he's gotten some flips from it. But overall, I think that could end up winning out over the long haul. I think both those guys are probably still long shots. I know everyone's like Carter Scruggs, like, can Virginia Tech get him from Clemson? That one's long gone, but Virginia Tech will continue to recruit him. I mean, Darius Gray, even though he's uncommitted, he's not going to commit to Virginia Tech. Spoiler alert! But again, I'm trying to address the fans here, but
Sure.
That's someone they're going to continue to recruit, and maybe a guy like Isaiah Simmons at Pitt to add another linebacker. I know Virginia Tech was high on him. He chose Pitt. But those are kind of the guys I'm looking at right now. I think Go and Dysere Carter are probably the most realistic, but still a flip alone is, very unrealistic. But those are guys simply because Fontel Mines and the history there.
Yeah, when I brought that question up and brought Syracuse into the discussion, I was hoping you were going to say Amari Go's name. So thank you.
yeah.
It's an 804 kid down at TJ. So, but it's really funny how you mentioned Fran Brown and what he's doing. But the biggest thing that he did last year was win 10 games. If that guy was 3-10 last year, no one would be looking at Syracuse. But you win 10 games, you're the hotness. Also, the billionaire donor maybe says, okay, here's an extra $5 million this year because you kicked ass last year.
Exactly.
Hey, yeah, I mean, pulling Calvin Russell was a big deal.
Yeah,
So.
Calvin, yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
Huge deal. He might play both sports there, too.
You're muted there, bud.
I'm on mute.
Yeah,
Can you
you
hear
was
me,
on
guys?
mute. Yeah, we can hear you now.
Check.
All good?
Y'all can hear me?
Yep.
We can hear you.
I can't hear y'all. One moment, boys.
That's a problem.
There we go. Technical difficulties here.
We're back.
Let's jump off recruiting for a few minutes here, and let's just talk in our mirrors here. You were having a conversation with us before we jumped on tonight about how is Matej Sis going to make it to Atlanta in the kickoff of the 2025 season? Matej, if you make it, we're probably going to have you back that next week just to recount your journey because what he's got to do, y'all, it'll be a great story. But let's talk a little bit about this season in general. And we've mentioned their names a couple times, and there's also a few other guys that have not been mentioned thus far. But what did you feel about the moves? The hiring of Philip Montgomery, the hiring of Sam Cephas, the absolute stealing of Matt. I don't know why you give up that guy and keep it. You do what you got to do, along with some of the other staff moves. Xavier coming to staff. Where Brent Pry is, to me, I think somebody mentioned in the chat earlier, he did what people who are having average team have to do. You have to shake up. You have to change. But when you started seeing those come in January, where was your head at for it?
Yeah, I mean, I think initially looking at Sefke's, I was trying to understand it at the time. And I think there's so many factors that go into it. And I know a lot of them are probably well documented by now. Like there's been much discourse about it. But you probably weren't going to get a guy that, like Brent Pry at the end of the day is still a defensive coach. Like he's going to be looking over your shoulder. You're not going to get a uber experienced guy to come in who maybe only has 1 year with the program, like if it's worst case scenario. And I think what they got, I'm intrigued by it. I think I still need to see what it's going to look like on the field. Because I think sometimes where my head goes when you bring professional guys to the college ranks is they've just done this, multiple systems, multiple schemes. They pick guys out in the portal that maybe play a certain technique, and then they go off the field and they bring on someone else. And that works in the pros because everyone's a pro. Will that work at the college level? What happens if you need to simplify the plan? I have a lot of questions like that. But I do think as a coordinator, as a guy with, raw football IQ, I really like it. And I think the ideal version of what Virginia Tech's defense looks like really excites me. I think it's just kind of wait and see mode on that front. Then I think with Montgomery, obviously had Bowen go to Ohio State as offensive line coach. And that kind of, all of a sudden you need to fill that void. But I like Montgomery a lot because I think there was just, when you look at the offense, obviously there were some highs, but there were also a lot of lows. And I think Montgomery's a guy that will come in and kind of even it out. And if not, still I think he's going to try to maximize what he has and not do too much with the pieces and I think Bowen sometimes got a little too creative and it didn't quite work out, but I am excited about Montgomery, but I think in a simple way, where Sefke's is maybe more of the creative. I want to see how it's going to go down. Montgomery, I have, it's the experience and kind of the simplicity that I like there. Obviously, Matt Moore, what more can you say? A+ hire. Again, we talked about it a bunch, but Sefke's, Montgomery, they're coming into a new situation. Matt Moore was like, I'm going to bring all my guys, and I have pre-existing relationships that's going to help out this next recruiting class. Yeah. So everything he's done outside, we haven't fully seen the development yet. I'm still waiting to see. I think it's going to come out pretty soon. But the height and weight on the roster, I'm one of those guys that's pretty excited about that. See all the weight room stuff with Ferg, but I'm, outside the development and on-field product, Matt Moore has done everything and more to bring some hope to the offensive line room. So very excited about Matt Moore. Like he's already paying off dividends there.
Yeah, very very excited about Matt Moore, and kind of looking back at what you're saying about Seepkes, I feel like his Wofford experience is going to come into play in terms of how he's deploying some of that personnel. I think it's going to be interesting to see what if he can scale it up. So like he's had the Wofford experience and he's had the NFL experience,
right?
And like Virginia Tech Power 4 college football is kind of somewhere in the middle of those two from a talent perspective. And is he going to be able to make that type of adjustment? Because you still need to be innovative and bring new ideas to the table to be competitive there, but you also need to be able to do a lot with sometimes at least going to be one or two positions where you don't quite have the talent that you'd like to have.
Right.
I mean, on Tally, we getting close, man. Don't worry.
Man, I'm just old, man. I'm just old.
Been working hard all day.
Got ready to talk, and then next thing you know, a yawn wants to come. So somebody said, "What? Put that up, Brian. What does it say? What's Steven say? The last
Yeah.
Stuff like that, man. I feel you, Steven. I'm with you. But I guess I'll ask the next question for Matej. Do you have any expectations for this year? And if you do, kind of where are they?
Yeah, this is where, of course, Tally's asking the question: will he be optimistic, Tally, or will he be sad?
He gave you a whole hour, and he's gonna finally.
He sure did. To be honest with you, I'm somewhere in the middle. I truly am somewhere in the middle. I think there are so many unknowns. Last year, you look at the roster. I mean, we've gone through it like a million times now, but there are so many expectations. Like there were a lot of knowns. This year, I think you brought it up earlier, Tally, 60 new players on the roster. There's a lot of unknown. There's a new scheme on both sides of the ball, and there's a lot of pressure as well. I think the good news, I don't feel like the ACC as a whole is, or at least I know the schedule is kind of, there's a couple really tough opponents next year and a lot of teams in the middle.
Right.
But I don't feel like there's a ton of, like the talent compared to last year feels down. So I think there is a path for Virginia Tech. I think my realistic upside for them is, 8-4 is for me. Like that's me trying to be as realistic as possible. But I think I land somewhere at 6-6 at the end of the day.
Yeah. I get it. I understand. Kind of the same. So y'all don't get to see no Tally. You just get the regular one right now. The middle. You get to see the middle right now.
Mid Tally. You get to join Mike.
You get to bring the mid. So it is what it is.
Mike. Yeah, that's like I like what you say there because the 8-4 is the good, right? But until the head coach proves certain things can be managed, right? Because we go through the last two seasons, if certain things have been managed right, I don't think we're sitting here questioning anything. You think about the end of the Vanderbilt, the end of the Rutgers game, the end of the Duke game, the Syracuse debacle. As I'll give y'all some hopium. As much as we bitch and complain, this team was very close to winning 9 and 10 games last year. And if that had been the record next to it, Tally'd be a lot happier. Not throwing stuff. I'd be a lot happier.
Yeah.
So to me, he's made the changes in one aspect, and Tally has said it numerous times. Can he change himself? Because that's what it takes. He's made all the pieces around him right. Can he learn from those guys? Can he learn from other people and start making other decisions? I think we got one more, Brian, before we you got something you want to say? Go ahead.
Yeah, I will piggyback on that a little bit. I mean, at some point at the day, I think Pride does a very good job of evaluating the program, but at the end of the day, if you're doing your evaluations and you're making your adjustments, at some point you got to get better or you got to go. And so that's where we're at right now. I think he's done the things he needs to do from a self-evaluation standpoint. we need to see it put into action, or we're going to be having this same discussion next year, except the seat's going to be on fire, and it's going to be, if you don't win 8+ games, you're probably gone.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be facing that type of situation this time next year. So that's where I'm at. But let's go back one little more round of recruiting stuff real quick here before we let you get out of here, Matej. So we had this really good 2025 class. We feel really good about it. What's a commit that you think is going to be a household name come December?
Household name. From this last class, let me think.
2025. That's a big class. There's 20 people. So
yeah. Do we want transfers, or are we talking like
no, high school.
Like high school?
Just the high school guy. Any guys that's going to be a pretty immediate impact. Whether it's guys that had some reps in the spring, or whether it's somebody that
sure.
And that's the thing.
So
with the portal. I was gonna say that's the thing with the portal. There are some guys we've got the tape right against elite comp. Like that guy
that's true.
Football.
I think in terms of high school guys, Sheldon Robinson's a name that jumps out. And the thing that makes me very happy about him is I had that feeling before he signed. Like he was going to play. I think the coaching staff thought that. And not only has he showed up and started to develop and really, take shape in a college weight room, I think he's someone that can get onto the field. And I know there's a ton of bodies in that DB room. I just think he's very versatile, and there could be a package for him. Like, again, we talked about it. It's win now mode. They're going to play a lot of older guys, a lot of these transfers. But if there's one guy to step up from the freshman class that is undeniably has that talent to get on the field, I think it's Sheldon Robinson.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned him, and I think that's interesting because, you say we definitely brought in a bunch of safeties in the transfer portal, but what we don't really have is a ton of entrenched guys at those position groups. Like everybody that's coming in is either new or young. So there's going to be some opportunity to fight for some reps in that room. So I like that pick. I think he's going to have a really good career. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do as well.
All right, and I've got one more thing because I got a message saying when's the basketball segment, and this is kind of off. I don't think I sent you anything on this, but I saw you make a post. You're clearly paying attention to Neo. I mean, how excited? I know you're primarily focused on football, but y'all cover all aspects. What was that like to see a guy? You know how talented he is. Everybody does. But when you see that, and it's like he's gonna play in Casper Coliseum.
I mean, I've been watching some of the highlights that have been everywhere of him playing for the Greek national team, and I can't believe a guy that big can move like that and is coming to Virginia Tech. Like, I just can't believe it. And I got to give a massive shout out to Chris Arvin, who writes for us on VTScoop, because he's been calling that for months. He's been hitting us in the Slack channels and just talking about it. So I've gotten to watch him quite a bit over the last couple months. And I know there's a lot of stress with the whole NBA decision and him eventually picking Virginia Tech. But yeah, he's so good. I am very excited for basketball. Unlike last season, Mike Young did what he could out of it, but they put everything towards football. So much stuff happened right before the season. And it was tough. It's tough when Virginia Tech can't, pull it together for college basketball. So I'm very excited for next year.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a fun team to watch. It's not going to be a frustrating team to watch like this past year's team was at times. Whether that translates to enough wins to be competitive in the ACC, that remains to be seen.
Right.
But it's at least going to be a fun team to watch this year.
I'm going to watch every game, and who knows how many they're going to win, but I will definitely be watching.
I think it's going to be more than last year. I think it's going to be quite a few more than last year. Because I think what's been mentioned a couple times and on here and with just talking with different people, you look at this team and the way it's shaped, it's like it's competitive. Like we're long. We got size. And we've got the one thing Talley's been begging for the last 3 or 4 years. Just give us one guy who can make the plays off the ball. That's the Greek kid. The Greek kid can do that shit. So it's like, we're up 2 points. We need 2 points to extend this lead. Give him the ball. He's going to go score.
We actually got somebody with length that can handle the ball too. Like
Yeah.
I feel like we've been missing that component. Like there's a ton of big guards in the ACC, and like, you know, we're running out, you know, 5'11", 6-foot kids, and no offense to them, they were good shooters, but they weren't exactly rangy kids and elite ball handlers that could really match up with some of those other ACC guards.
It's just crazy. I'm just thinking about it, and just a little bit of a tangent here, but it's like if you were in a coma last year and you woke up today and you're like, what has happened with Virginia Tech athletics? It's like you have 60 new guys on Virginia Tech's football roster. All of a sudden, Mike Young is bringing in German 7-footers, Greek guys to play basketball. I mean, how much things can change in a year? It's just crazy.
Yeah, for real. I just need somebody to be good. Basketball, baseball, football, softball, wrestling. String something together, man. Give me some hope.
Hey, wrestling and softball gave you a little bit of hope. They were good.
Yeah, and I mean,
They were
women's
good.
soccer, you know, they went on a run too. So I mean, there wasn't like, I think because wrestling probably had a little bit more expectations than they necessarily followed through on. That was a little disappointment, even though it was a good season. You know, there wasn't a whole lot to really, you know, hold on to this year. So it's nice to have a little bit of hope back, at least for basketball. There's at least some hope for football in that we at least know we're not going to do the same thing we did last year because we brought in a whole bunch of new players and coaches. So it's going to look different, even if the outcome's the same. It's at least going to look different. So there's something to really latch onto from that perspective as well. So, you know, we'll see.
We will.
Hey,
Wrestling did to us this year. It's like winning 9 games when we were winning 10 and 11 every year 20 years ago. Oh, we only won 9 games this year. Oh man, like, and now it's like, give us 9 games, we'd be ain't no telling what the episode would look like in December if we won 9 games this year.
Yeah,
state of the program would go hard, man.
Yeah, that's nothing. We should have won. We need to win 10. I got to hit Matej with this before he leaves because I have to, you know, he knows how I feel about his rankings, man. He's been getting better. He's been getting better, but I did a little bit of research and a little bit of watching. I haven't done a lot because they done pissed me off. But T-Ron Richardson, I did a little bit of research on him and a little bit of film study. I don't know, man. It kind of looked like he's better than a 3-star. Matej.
That's what
I'm just saying, man.
I said the same thing. I'm saying when it's all said and done, he could be the gem of the class if he were to choose Virginia Tech.
Right. Yeah, I looked at some of his offers, and I mean, offer list is crazy, and talent is crazy, size is good. So I was like, man, this kid is nice. So again, haven't been paying a lot of attention to recruiting because y'all know why. But if you want to check out any kind of Virginia Tech recruiting or recruiting in general right now, go look at T-Ron Richardson. T-Ron Richardson. Check him out.
11 player in the state of Virginia, I think.
Yeah, he's right behind Wilder.
Behind Wilder, number 11 player. Matej, you got anything you want to add or plug before we wrap this night up?
I'll say it's always a pleasure to come on here. Always fun. Not too much to plug. If you haven't checked us out at VTScoop, please do. Massive shout outs as always to Evan G. Watkins and Colby Crawford. I know he's been on here recently, but or maybe a couple months ago, but those guys have been holding down the fort in the off season. So go give them a follow. And yeah, come check us out at VTScoop. Off season's almost done. I think, what is it? 6 or 7 more Saturdays till we're back.
Yeah. 6.
Cannot wait.
That's
I think
crazy, man.
48 days, 49 days until.
Do anybody got NCAA 26?
I didn't get it.
I got it.
You got it? Is it better or worse than last year?
It's better. I mean, it's still a little glitchy at the beginning, but it's got a lot of attributes to make it better to me.
I know Tally was real happy when Sandman was in that thing.
No comment. We're gonna keep this show good, man. We ain't going into it. We're losing their minds. I can't tell you, man. I just wonder. I pay attention to details the older that I get instead of just like gameplay. So I'm playing with the Hokies, of course, and I'm just listening to them talk about like Kyron, and they're talking about, well, last year, if they had come down with this Hail Mary at Miami, whole season might have turned around and been different. I'm like, how much time do they put into these games, man? But this is what they're saying on the game. So if y'all ain't checked it out, I'm pretty sure everybody done checked it out in the chat. So it's good, man. I like it. I like the.
Here you go. A lot
Sally,
of people.
You got to add New King, man.
New King.
Oh my God! I thought he was gone this week.
You got to add Robbie.
I thought he was gone.
You got to add Josh.
I gotta get everybody.
New King, throw that PSID in there.
Yeah, man. Y'all put them gamer tags in there. See what we got. They get us a game going.
There we go.
No, New King, you ain't playing with Miami. Pick another team, buddy. I don't see that ugly ass orange and green.
Oh man. Well, Matej, again, we really appreciate you joining us tonight. And again, that wraps up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast, brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy. I'm Curtis Wilson.
Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And with our wonderful guest from VTScoop, 247 Sports, Matej Sis. We are part of the College Huddle Network. Check out boundarycornervt.com to listen to all of our episodes. Also, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Follow us. Subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We're also on any podcast source you can possibly think of. That impressed my oldest son today when he asked, "You on Spotify, Dad?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm on Spotify." Yeah, I can watch you. Like, yeah, I guess you can. I don't know. Anyway, always check out our music man, Jason Long, who plays us out every week. Check out jasonlongmusic.com, where you can link to all of his music, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook pages. He is going to be this Saturday, fresh off his trip to the Big Apple, going to be at the Grandin Village Farmers Market down in Roanoke. And then on August 10th, Music on the Mountain at Mill Mountain Discovery Center. Check that out in Roanoke as well.
I'm sure the Chelsea Market in Grandin Village is about the same.
About the same, right? About the same. We appreciate you guys for always listening, always in the chat out there. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.